Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is ThePaddyPower, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.
Light the candle, Tiger!
Hi there, welcome along to the Racing Post Golf Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and joining me this week are Steve Palmer and Paddy Power's Ian McLaughlin. We are looking ahead to the final major of the year. It's the US PGA. Now then, slight trepidation in my voice. I'm not as upbeat as normal because this TV situation is really, really annoying. Well, basically, there is none. Steve, take us through how we watch this infernal event, if you would.
It's heartbreaking and absolutely staggering that you can't watch the US PGA Championship on TV. I think you can watch the first 2 days on a Facebook stream on the US PGA site. And then from there, you've really got to get this 11 Sports streaming website. You've got to sign up for that. I think they're offering 7 days free website use. Sorry, I sound like a dinosaur when I'm talking about these things.
No, well, we are dinosaurs. I mean, my son would just go, oh, whatever, I'll just sign on and I'll watch it. That's fine. But I want to watch it in stunning high definition on a widescreen television set. And more than that, I want my device so I can bet with. I don't want to use my device to be watching it. It's no good, is it?
No, that's true.
Are you in the same boat in the Emerald Isle, Ian?
We are. We're 11 Sports as well. Luckily, we have a few streams from the US that we can use in work, so I'll be okay. So I'm quite selfish. I'm quite selfish in that regard, so I'll be okay.
Well, you won't be okay when you see turnover go.
That's true too. Yeah, that's the big. Obviously, that's the big.
What will it do for turnover this one, Ian?
It will be markedly down, I would say. Pre-tournament, it should be okay year on year, but then when you get into the in-play, sure, people aren't going to bet on what they can't watch. That's the key. That's what we find in golf betting anyway. If they can't see it, they won't bet on it really.
Yeah. So okay, let's raise ourselves, shall we? Because I'm sure most people will battle through and find a way of watching it, and I'm sure it'll be great. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, right then. Before we get stuck into who's going to win, let's get the latest show of betting from Paddy Power and Ian, the usual very generous each way concession from
Yes, 10 places again this week in the USPGA. Dustin Johnson heads are betting at 9-1. Rory McIlroy next at 11-1. Justin Thomas 12-1. Jordan Spieth 16-1. Rickie Fowler 18-1. Jason Day 18-1. Brooks Koepka 18-1. Justin Rose 18-1 and 20-1 bar.
The usual suspects then now. Already we've got a kind of big 12, haven't we, on the tour when it comes to majors, and Francesco Molinari's forced his way in after winning our Open. Steve, are you going to pick one from the top and then a few long shots? I think that's the strategy for you this week, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the strategy for me. My best bet is Jason Day. Hits lots of superb approach shots at Firestone last week. The iron play has been the problem this season. It's been well down the approach, strokes gained on approach stats, but last week he finally got his irons purring. Finished 10th, but it's 5 holes of madness coming home. His driving let him down a little bit, but I would expect that to return to standard levels this week, and there's a little bit of cut in the ground to help with the driving. Nobody's got a better short game. I just see no weaknesses in Day this week. His natural shot shape off the tee is a powerful draw, which sets him up perfectly on many holes at Bellarif. This layout really lends itself to the right to left drives. Already won twice this year on the US Tour on similar tracks to this one. Has already won a PGA, of course. Has not finished outside the top 15 in this event the last 5 years. Yeah, I think everything points to Jason Day this week. I'm a daydream Bellariva.
Oh, lovely! I like that. We should have had that. We've wasted that. On the back page, we've got Daydream Believer, but if we'd gone the whole hog...
We don't need to go too far. It needs to make some sort of sense, doesn't it?
What a shame you didn't suggest that one yesterday. We could that on the back. No, that was very good. I'm very impressed with that one. Okay, so Jason Day for Steve. Ian, who's going to carry your main hopes this week?
My main tip is Bubba Watson. Big price for a player who's already won 3 times this year. With Bellarif receiving plenty of rain over the last 24 hours, it's going to make Bubba's driving even more of an advantage. He currently ranks 6th in strokes gained off the tee. As Steve mentions, a lot of holes with that right to left shape. I think there's 11 dog legs to the left. I counted looking through the course, and there's no better player with a stock fade for a left-hander, obviously, than Bubba. Bellarif reminds me a little bit of Riviera, a course where he thrives. And looking through the 2008 BMW Championship, the last tournament played at Bellarif, he finished at rounds of 65 and 66. So it's good memories of the course as well. Surprised to see big prices out there for a player of this calibre.
Did you say won 3 times this year, Ian? That's amazing.
Yes.
He's won 3 times in the last 6 months.
I mean, I'm amazed by that.
Yeah.
But the match play, the Travellers last time, and the Genesis Open at the start of the year.
Riviera. Yeah.
He's a
Steve,
massive class,
I've got an amazing fact for you, Steve. A question for you. Let's see if you get this. Who finished second in the 6th most recently played US PGA?
6th most recently played US PGA?
Yeah. 2012.
2012.
Go on, put us out of our misery. We got a half-hour podcast to get through here.
The human coat hanger, David Lynn.
Oh, David Lynn, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. That was a great.
To McIlroy.
He's living off that check now.
Second to McIlroy, yeah.
Incredible. Where is he
Yeah,
now, David Lynn?
he retired young, had a few injury problems, and didn't fancy the grind anymore. No, all due respect. Bit of a Twitter joker, wasn't he?
Oh, really?
That's right.
Yeah, he built a bit of a reputation as a Twitter jester.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, he can go into his retirement saying, I finished second in a major. Not many people can do that. Right then, if Jason Day is going to win this, who's going to finish second and indeed third, fourth, fifth, sixth, etc., Steve?
Well, I love Bubba Watson. I mean, Ian McLaughlin and me agreed on a couple last week and it didn't work out, but I would advise getting involved in Bubba Watson. You're talking about a two-time major champion. Augusta is a course that sets up well for his shape of shot, and Bellerive is similar to that. Similar to Augusta in that respect. He's putting better this year as well, isn't he? And he had a couple of seasons where he was awful on the dance floors, but he's finding a way of getting the ball in the hole now, and in his long game is a huge asset. And then I have 4 outsiders at 3-figure prices. So do you want me to rattle through them, Bruce?
Please do.
Thomas Peters, Ryder Cup star in 2016, hasn't enjoyed great success since, but encouraging signs of late, and Bellerive suits him. Nick Watney.
Yeah, I was amazed when I saw Nick Watney on the list.
Nick Watney, well, former world number 10, 5-time US Tour champion. He's getting his act together again now. He's had a few injury problems, but he's over them, and he hits a natural draw, well suited to Bellerive. Finished second at Quail Hollow earlier in the year. It's an interesting piece of form. Russell Henley, basically just had one bad round in his last 21. He shot 80 in the second round of the Open in heavy rain, but if you disregard that, he's in fantastic nick. And the last big price outsider I like was Aaron Wise. I think this man is the absolute dog's kahunas. I think he's a world-class youngster and will go on to smash in to the world's top 10 soon enough. His breakthrough win in the Byron Nelson, he won that in spectacular fashion, and he finished 6th at Firestone on Sunday. So I think Aaron Wise is going places fast. Maybe this is too quick in his development to win a major, but you never know. What's
the betting strategy going to be, Steve? You wading in, or are you going to tread carefully? What's the
well, obviously, last week didn't go too well. I managed to sneak a little bit out of the McIlroy top 10 and the Leishman top 20, but I still lost a couple of grand, even though Michael Van Gerwen did the business. Thank goodness Michael Van Gerwen did the business. So, yeah, I think I need to have a quiet week, maybe a 1/6 of a mortgage.
Oh, right, okay. A 1/6 of a mortgage, oh my goodness.
Prudent.
Is that what you plan to win, or what you're going to stake?
That's what I plan to win, yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough. Last week was annoying, lads, wasn't it? Really annoying, eh?
Desperate.
What was Rory playing at?
It's his wedge
He's
game.
got serious problems with his wedges, isn't he? I mean, he could throw it on closer than he gets to his wedge. He puts himself in such great position off the tee, and then he's right close to the green, and he's obviously working hard on the range, but he just can't find a way of sorting those wedges out.
Yeah, what a shame. And there was no joy lurking in any of the other tournaments for you, Steve, no?
No. It was just the darts that went well last week.
Ian, did you have any rays of hope, or was it all grim last week?
There was the crossbar McIlroy and Vaughn Taylor. He had 2 slow rounds at the old Rio Tahoe, and he finished a tie for 9th.
Yeah.
The Barracuda, it's now called. Yeah, he had a great weekend. He was one shot out of the place, and it was a little bit annoying. So yeah, it was a week of the hitting the crossbar. But sure, we'll try again this week.
We tipped the winner of the ladies, though, didn't
we?
We
did.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that because there's a very funny tweet, and we're going to do your Twitter questions. Thanks for all them. And someone basically was congratulating you and thanking you.
Yeah,
and,
quite right.
You actually tipped him a loser. Okay, well let's get back in the zone. We've had all Steve's outright tips. Ian, your main tip is Bubba. Who are you going to augment him with?
I'll put him in with 2 more guys, kind of in the same price range. The second one is Patrick Cantlay, having an excellent year in the PGA Tour, 12th at the British Open, followed that up with a 6th at the Bridgestone last week, so his current form is excellent. Looking through the stats that are going to correlate well with Bellerive, he's 10th in strokes gained tee to green, 11th strokes gained off the tee, 26th in strokes gained approach, 13th in ball striking. I mentioned Riviera as a correlating course with Bubba. He finished 4th this year at Riviera, his first go at the track. A very talented player. player who's in good form. I think he put up a good showing. And the second one is Bryson the Shambo. This is more from a pricing perspective. I think he's just not getting the respect he deserves.
He didn't deserve any respect after that horrible handshake against McIlroy. That was pathetic.
He apologised now.
Oh, did he?
He did.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Okay.
I was going to say the well-publicised meltdown in Germany. He opened with a 75 at Firestone, which I think was probably understandable given the media circus. Like, he was in with Mike Tirico for a 50-minute interview. I think it was Tuesday at Firestone. It kind of got a bit out of hand, like, for an apology. I thought it was a bit too much. But he got progressively better as the week progressed. 69, 68, 67 for a 30th place finish. So the game was kind of coming back round. Conditions will suit him. He's a bomber off the tee. Hits a nice draw as well. He's a winner of the Memorial Tournament at the start of June. That's a course where that was soft and ball striking was important. Ranks in the top 20 of all the correlating stats, much like Bubba and Cantley. I think he can go close to lifting the Wanamaker Trophy this week.
Okay, loads more USPGA views from Steve and Ian next.
Success ain't earned, it's bought. That's why at Paddy Power, we paid the big bucks for the best tech nerds in the world to develop our new, fastest ever app. Download the new app from the App Store or Play Store now. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Okay, let's look at all the other fancies, all the other markets, all the tops, first round leader. We'll start with the boys' picks of the top US, European, Asian, Australasian, former winner, whatever you like. Steve, away you go.
Top European, I think Thomas Pieters is a big price. I think I respect McIlroy and I respect John Rahm, but I think Thomas Pieters could really take a shine to this course. And he's desperate to make a late bid for that Ryder Cup spot. He's a fearless character. He would have been fuming about missing Firestone last week. He finished fourth there last year. I think Thomas Pieters will put everything into this. He can be a bit of a carefree character, but I think you're getting total focus from him this week, which is quite rare. So I think 35-1 Thomas Pieters, top European.
Okay.
Do you want some top American action?
I'd love some.
Same price as Pieters, actually. 35-1 Bubba Watson. Obviously, loads of dangers in this market, but Bubba Watson is overpriced at 35-1. He's not getting the respect he deserves in any market this week. I don't think he's that popular with punters because he looks such a clown. He behaves like a moron at times, doesn't he? So I think that's reflected in his price, which he shouldn't be because he'd be fully focused for a USPGA, and his ball striking will put him right in the mix here.
Okay, excellent. Ian, have you got anything for us on the old tops?
I'll go top European. It's a player who has doubts over his fitness, but I think he's just getting out to a daft price in every market. It's Henrik Stenson. He played all 4 rounds of Firestone. It's an event where he could easily just have withdrawn to kind of ready himself for this week, but he played all 4 rounds. He didn't putt great. He finished in the 30th position. So I'd be confident. I personally confident he's close to 100%. Now the rain won't have helped his chances too much because I know he loves hitting the 3-wood, and he might be a little bit longer out for a second shot. But his figures are just very impressive when you link them up to Bellerive. He's 7th in strokes gained tee to green, 3rd in strokes gained approach, 4th in overall ball striking. And again, just saying in relation to the price, I think he's drifted out a little bit too much. He's lost some of the respect in the market, so I think he's a cracking bet in this market. And I wouldn't put anyone off backing him in the outright.
Jolly good. Any others or just Stenson?
No, Stenson was the only one that kind of popped out at me in those markets. I've 3 Americans, so they're probably all worth bets in the top US market as well.
Fine. Now then, first round leader. Do you expect there to be a favour or a bias towards the morning or afternoon starters, Steve?
I think the morning star's going to get dreamy conditions because there's been a lot of rain in the air, and I think the storms are going to clear just in time for the early starts on Thursday. So they're going to get lovely soft conditions. There's going to be no wind. They're going to be throwing darts out there. I mean, the biggest problem they're going to have, I think, is controlling their spin because these greens are so receptive, and I think you're going to have players that know how to control their spin because you could spin it off the greens. It's so inviting out there. So early starters, and if you want a tip. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Jason Day's out very early. Often pings the lids. He got an excellent first round leader record. So 35-1 I saw with our sponsors Paddy Power. So have their trousers down.
Okay, Ian, give us some prices and then your idea of the first round leader.
Again, we're enhanced place terms here with 8 places in leader after round 1. Dustin Johnson has the betting again at 20-1. Rory McIlroy 25-1. Justin Thomas 25-1. Rickie Fowler 25-1. Tiger Woods 30-1 and 33-1 bar.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, obviously there's a hell of a lot of fancy contenders we haven't talked about. So when we come back, we will do listeners' questions, and some of those we'll be able to get the lads' opinions there. But it's interesting to hear what the boys fancy at the front of the market, and we'll also get the naps. And Steve has got a special geographically themed version of This Will Not Be Beaten in honour of his main tip. So we're back in a mo.
Check out Paddy's Rewards Club. Simply place 5 bets of £10 or more across any sport in a week, and you'll get a free £10 bet then next week. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
OK, welcome back, Steve Palmer, Bruce Millington and Paddy Powers in McLaughlin. Let's get some questions. People have been tweeting. We've got some belters. Charlie says, Steve, where do you think Tiger's best chance of his next win is?
Yeah,
is
that's
it
a
here?
really good question. No, I don't think it's here. I think if he qualifies for the Tour Championship, I think he's got an excellent chance at East Lake. That's a course where he could win on. So, I'll be monitoring very closely over the next few weeks, and then probably be unloading on him for East Lake if he's in the same sort of form he's in now.
OK, Lee says, should this major go on the road to the likes of Australia? Would you be in favour of that, Ian?
No.
OK, fair enough.
No. I'm a traditionalist. Change nothing.
Yep.
I still think the Open should be staged at Prestwick every year. They played the first 12 there, and I can't believe they're still not over it. Sacrilege.
Ian, another one for you. James says, can Tony Finau ever turn all these top 10 finishes into a win?
He can. Just needs to get a 1 week with the putter, and he'll win. He'll win quite easily.
OK, fair enough. Mark says he's 10-1. Brilliant value for DJ. Steve, what's your view on the tournament favourite this week?
10-1's probably fair, but he's this is one of the strongest fields of the year. Nobody's certain to be up there. And is this really his track? He's going to have to hit some draws on this track, and he's become uncomfortable doing that in the last couple of years. So, no, I don't think he's a standout wager this week.
OK, Tandy asks, is Joaquin Niemann ready to challenge for a major, or is he not quite there yet? Ian?
I would say he's not quite there yet. Another year under his belt in the PGA Tour, he should be a major contender. OK,
and Colin says, in his current form, how is Brandon Grace favourite for top South African? Surely Oosthuizen is great value. What do you think, Steve?
I agree with him, yeah. I think Oosthuizen should be favourite in that market.
OK, and Richard says, are they concerned about Rory's mental state surrounding his wedge game and putting, and his obvious lack of ability to win tournaments in recent years from great positions on final days? Ian, are you concerned?
I'd be slightly concerned. It's kind of a work in progress with the wedges. I think the putter actually looked quite good on Sunday throughout the week at Bridgestone. I think it's just the wedges. It's going to be hard for him to kind of implement what he's trying to do in tournament golf. If you think he gets a winter under his belt with the wedge game, I think he'd be rejuvenated for next year.
Ian, we're going to stick with you for Sean's question, because we know you're from the University of Jordan Spieth.
Yes.
Can Jordan achieve the career slam? Is the media focus as big over there as it would be for one of ours in the same scenario? It seems low key here, maybe due to no Sky coverage. In my opinion, he is Nicklaus-like.
I would say the coverage is kind of slightly dulled off this year because he's kind of gone under the radar. I know he challenges for the Open, but he hasn't been having a great year. Do I think he can win the career Grand Slam this week? I think his driver needs to behave. If it does, he's obviously a stellar iron player, great putter from mid-range. He's going to have plenty of mid-range putts this week. If his driver behaves, I think he'll have a big chance.
OK.
He won the last major they played on Paul Greens, didn't he? In the Chambers Bay in 2015. These greens are not in great condition at Belarus.
Very poor.
I suppose that's one good omen for him. But he's winless this year, and self-belief must have waned over the last few months.
Indeed. Lucas wants to know, has Steve sorted out his Betfair account?
Yes. I got good news on that front. Back on track. They did a review, whatever that means. I don't know what a review means, but it seems like they've given me the green light to bet like a man again. Jolly good.
And James, I'll ask you both this one. It's a good question. Which player in the top 10 of the betting represents the worst value? Ian, you go first.
The worst value, I would probably say DJ, just for the points that Steve made. It's not going to be a course that suits him at all. It's a drawer's golf course. His natural shot over the last couple of years has turned to a fade, so I think he'll struggle this week personally.
Steve?
Johnson and probably Justin Rose. Justin Rose hadn't seen the course before this week. He'd done no reconnaissance. He's been struggling with his back. Had to miss Firestone, so Rose looks skinny around the 20-1 mark.
And Steve, Louis asks, can Molinari win again?
Can Molinari win again? Yeah, of course he can. I've got a stat here. 5 times in the last 24 years the Open winner has won the USPGA, so that's quite an interesting statistic, but I don't think this track is perfect for him. So, yes, he can, but I don't think he will. OK,
Gareth says, what is most important, recent form or course form? That's a good question. Ian?
This week, with a course that's so sporadically played on the road, it has to be recent form.
In general?
In general, there's certain courses like Augusta, the more idiosyncratic tracks, you need more course form, but I would weight more on recent form personally.
And Steve, do you concur there?
I do concur, yeah. Recent form will always outweigh course form.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for your questions. Some excellent ones there. Just a few more guys at the head of the bet, and I want to get some opinions on. So nice and quick. We haven't mentioned Justin Thomas yet, Steve.
Justin Thomas, yeah, he's obviously got plenty going for him, but I wonder what last week took out of him. It's quite an emotional win when he was blubbing all over his granddad and lots of media duties afterwards, so may struggle to get his juices flowing immediately. And again, I know we're probably boring you with the shot shape talk, but he likes to
I love it.
Likes to cut most of his drives, so Bellerive not a perfect shape for him, and lots of pressure. Playing close to home, I think he'll have a lot of friends from Kentucky over the border, and big weight of expectation, and of course he's got that 3-ball with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy, so you can't exactly ease yourself into proceedings.
They should have some fun out there, shouldn't they?
Oh, they'll have a lot of fun, but it'll be intense, and I think there's just enough negatives to ignore Thomas this week.
Brooks Koepka, Ian.
Same comments as JT. A fader the golf ball nowadays. If he can get the ball in play off the tee, I think he could be dangerous, but I'll have concerns with he can't really hit a draw.
Steve, Rickie Fowler.
Rickie Fowler likes to play a fade, not perfect for him this now. Obviously got the mental hurdle of winning the first one. I think there's too many players playing well. I don't fancy him for this.
Right, I'm not even going to ask you about Jon Rahm, because until he can stop being such a silly boy and control his temper, he's not a contender. Tommy Fleetwood, Ian.
Fleetwood, yeah, I think he's kind of shown himself. He's a great talent, but like the pressure cooker at the Open, the US Open, he kind of came from way back. There wasn't that much pressure on him. Is he truly that stature of a player where he can close if he's in a position to win? I think he'd go well. I think he's probably a very, very good each way bet this week, but can I see him winning? Personally not.
Okay, anything
he's jaded
else?
As well. He's played too much.
Yeah,
why he played the Canadian Open, I don't know. He faded out over the weekend at Firestone. I think he's golfed out.
Okay, any other bets that you like that aren't your nap? Is there anything we haven't mentioned and haven't touched on yet? Steve?
There's loads of 3-ball wagers. They'll be online from 8 p.m. Wednesday on racingpost.com.
Lovely.
Nice plug.
So, you might want to wait till then. I mean, there's been an early gamble on Ollie Schneidergens to win the 251 3-ball. I can completely understand that. I mean, Troy Merritt has just had an operation on his arm. Some of the layers didn't seem to spot that. Troy Merritt's in terrible shape, can hardly move his arm. He might have to have a rib removed at some stage.
When you say a huge gamble, do you mean you've smashed it to smithereens? And
No. I had a little tickle, but they're 6 to 5 to 10 to 11. But I mean, you're talking, he should be sort of 3s or 4s on, I think, Schneidergens.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember that time, Steve? Where was that when you were at the Open and you saw Scott Verplank coming out of the massage kiosk, grimacing, and we absolutely lumped on the opponent? It's the only time that sort of tips ever work for us, isn't it?
Yeah, you always get some good clues. But Troy Merritt, he shouldn't be playing, really. His doctors would advise him not to. And as I say, it's an ongoing problem. He might have to have another operation. And Schneidergens has only got him and a club pro to beat. So, the 251 3-ball, get heavily involved, I'd say.
Lovely. Ian, anything else? You got a 3-ball fancy?
No real 3-ball fancies, to be honest. The best bet without the nap would have been Stenson top 20 finish at around the 2-1 mark, for the reasons I mentioned above and the lack of respect in the market. I think he's a couple of ticks too big in that market. Okay,
Steve, clear your throat. Away you go.
This will not be beaten. Struth, what a price! This will not be beaten. That's a bonza bet. This will not be beaten. Might win a ute. This will not be beaten. It's playing Ripper, mate.
What was the third one there, Steve?
The third one was I might win a ute. They're always banging on about utes, aren't they? Like utility vehicles, big trucks.
Oh, right.
I used to live in Australia, and we were about the only family over there that didn't have a ute.
You hated it out there, didn't you?
Yeah, I was bullied. It probably explains a lot of things, but I was very good at cricket, and they didn't like that. I was only 10 years old. And England were winning the Ashes. God, this is a long story. No, we haven't got time for this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That was lovely. What's your nap?
My nap is with our sponsors, Paddy Power. They do a top 30 finish. They go the extra mile. A lot of people stop at top 20. They go top 30 finish. Ian McLaughlin burns the midnight oil.
Yes.
And but I think he's made a blunder in it probably sometime around midnight last night. 5-6 about Jason Day to be in the top 30. I mean, he's been comfortably inside the top 30 in the previous 5 US PGAs. He's finished in the top 15 in the previous 5 PGAs. I think he's coming into this one in fine fettle. So 5-6 looks an enormous price to me.
There you go, Ian. Well done. All that hard work, and then Steve's going to ruin your bonus by absolutely smashing up Day. Okay. What's your nap, Ian?
Well, that was Tony Finau, top 20 finish around the 2-1 mark. This year, Finau has moulded himself into a top major performer with 3 top 10s. He ranks highly in all necessary stats for Bellerive. I think 2-1 is much like Stenson is a couple of ticks too big.
Lovely stuff. Well done, chaps. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for your questions. There were some absolute belters. We are back next week with another golf postcast previewing the Wimbledon Championship and the Nordia Masters up in Scandinavia. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Ian. Good luck with all your bets. Good luck with trying to watch the bloody thing. Back next week.
Follow Paddy Power on Snapchat. The username is the Paddy Power, and we promise there won't be any boring snaps about gigs, the weather, or the gym.